I'm going on a date.
Fascinating.
No one cares!
I'm never going on a date again.
Thank you, Jesus!
Genuine question. The men that live in New York, were you guys raised in a barn?
Good question. But you know, the men are also asking if you lovely ladies were raised at the corner of Proper Garden Tool Street and Gold Digger Avenue. And here we have the struggles of dating as a plus-sized woman when she doesn't even consider dating a plus-sized man, and the first guy she wanted to date is frickin' Lazar Angelov.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Sweetie, the reason why dating is hard for you is not because you're plus-sized, it's because you lack self-awareness.
There should be mandatory DNA testing at birth.
No.
I don't know why you, okay.
Because it's calling my wife a whore to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Why? Okay, so
because
women...
the assumption of the first of all, mandatory, good grief, but the premise of it is that my wife is sleeping around.
Okay, so
I'm quite confident my wife is not sleeping around.
The woman feels icky for a little bit, but then...
The man feels it. I would feel quite icky.
Wait.
Mikey, if you want to talk about premise or assumptions, I have to remind you that in the good old USA, if the cops respond to a domestic violence call and they walk in on the husband bleeding on the floor from a stab wound and his wife is holding a bloody knife, the authorities are gonna assume that she stabbed her husband in self-defense. But if the genders are reversed, they'll immediately assume that the husband is a murderer. And in this social climate, asking for a paternity test makes you feel icky. Do you also drink Bud Light when nobody's looking?
Pathetic.
The woman feels icky for a little bit. Fine, maybe the man feels icky.
Certainly he would. You're calling his wife a whore and him a cuckold.
It prevents men from being put on child support and raising kids that aren't theirs.
You're saying they're
And
married.
if people want to opt out of it, fine. You can opt out.
So it's not mandatory.
But
it's voluntary. But there is voluntary.
I think it would be better if it was mandatory. I think that's a better.
So then the men can opt out.
Oh my gosh! What are you?
You know, I've been critical of Pearl in the past, but this time, she's not actually pandering, she's speaking facts. On the other hand, Mikey here is pandering pretty hard, probably to get positive engagement from conservative women. You know, the same conservative women who said they'd vote Democrat this year because Florida voted to end lifetime alimony. But sure, listen to Mikey here and don't get a paternity test because your wife's gonna feel icky. And hey, after 50 years of faithful service to your wife and her boyfriend's kid, this could be you.
I have been married for 51 years. Got 2 sons, 42 and 40. Them deadbeats. I'm still supporting the little boogers. Needed to take a test to see if any of us had a kidney good enough for my brother. Found out something interesting. They ain't my kids. There's somebody else's. Of course, the only good thing is, I know it's not my fault that those 2 idiots got dumped into this world. Hell, I thought they took after their mother. Instead, they take after the plumber or the postman or the milkman, or, yeah, they were milkmen back when they came around. I mean, God only knows. Yeah, boys, y'all need to go get your own paternity test. You can't tell by looking who's the daddy, unless you're looking down at the genetic level. I've been in court thousands of times in paternity suits. And 4 out of 5 times, guy says he ain't the daddy, he's right.
Man, that's messed up.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, if a man is too much of a simp to ensure his genetic legacy, he deserves all the consequences.
My Roman Empire is that a war could potentially be stopped with a sex strike.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
If you don't believe me, go read about ancient Greece. Specifically in the Lysistrata by Aristophanes, Athens and Sparta had been at war for years, and the women in both cities were growing really tired. Their husbands were never home. They were always fighting. When they were home, their head was someplace else. They were distracted, unaffectionate, yada yada yada. Until a woman from Athens, Lysistrata, gathers all the women from both Athens and Sparta, and they decide to enforce a strike. They will not have with their husbands until they stop fighting. I don't even need to tell you. It worked.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, Aristophanes was a comedian, and Lysistrata wasn't an actual person. It was a comedic play that Aristophanes wrote. If you're looking for a modern example to match the absurd comedy of Lysistrata, it would be someone making a movie about how the warring peoples of the Middle East suddenly stopped fighting because a nuclear war would wipe out all of the humus. And no, the war between Athens and Sparta didn't stop because Greek women refused to bang their husbands. It ended with a Spartan victory over Athens. But sweetie, if you want to present fiction as historical fact just to pander to your man-hating audience, let's pretend Lysistrata was an actual person in historical ancient Athens, and let's use a little bit of logic, because hey, it's ancient Greece. So, Lysistrata's husband, we'll just call him Lysandros, an Athenian, comes back intact from several tours of duty in the war against Sparta, which means, in order for him to come back intact, Lysandros had killed every enemy soldier that tried to kill him. Logic, am I right?
You're goddamn right.
And not just any enemy soldiers, Spartan soldiers, who are the best infantry the world had ever seen. So, Lysandros comes back to his wife as a battle-hardened, trained killer with several Spartan skulls under his belt. And as a decorated war veteran who was beloved by the people, and you're telling me that she denied her box to that guy?
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Yeah, that would have never happened. Not necessarily because she feared her husband, but because her thoughty little friends, Eudoxia and Cassandra, both lost their husbands in the war, and any one of them would just love to be married to the returning war hero. And by the way, back in ancient Greece, being divorced from your military husband didn't get you the house, the kids, alimony, child support, and his military pension. It got you shunned by society. Not to mention the fact that if Lysistrata actually tried to convince other Athenian women to deny their husbands intimacy with the stated goal of weakening military morale during wartime, well, for that blatant act of treason, she would have been torn to pieces in the agora, then fed to the pigs.
No, no! No! This is not how this was supposed to go!
But even if by some miracle Lysistrata was successful and all the free women of Athens refused to give up the box, the ancient Athenians had slaves, and slaves couldn't say no.
Bruh.
Seriously, ladies, no matter how much you worship your own boxes, they'll never be as valuable as you want them to be.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.